truly your school. It is founded in you, and everything that we do is here to honor and serve you through our programs and our classes and our outreach, God. I pray that tonight, as we talk about this school, that our love and passion for you and for students shines bright in all of our conversations and presentations, God. We ask these things in your son's precious name. Amen. All right, so we are here for high school and talking about the high school experience. So I want you to turn to the person next to you, and if you are a parent, I want you to, just in a nutshell, talk about a positive experience you had in high school, something that stood out as a positive impact in your life. And for students, if you're sitting together, I want you to share something that you're very excited or looking forward to about the high school experience. So we're going to take about 2 minutes to do that as people continue to come in. Just share. It got very dark all of a sudden. High school experience, or high school that had a positive thing that stands out for you? To share. Yeah. I'm testing a theory as I ask you. Okay. Take about 30 seconds to finish up your conversation. Great. Right. So I heard a lot of chatter, a lot of animation. And as you were talking, I turned to our panel here and I asked them the same question, something that stood out. I said, I'm testing a theory. I really do want to hear your responses. Not one of our panel members said, it was the lecture in that class all year long that stood out to me. It was the relationships with people, with friends, peers, relationships with a coach that inspired them, the experience of dances, cheer, homecoming, all of those activities that happen. So the vision for high school students here at the King's Academy, yes, academics are really important, and you're going to hear about our academic program. But it's a vision for high school where all of their experiences are grounded in Christ, that they're developing that biblical worldview throughout their experience in high school. It is developing those enduring relationships with their peers and their teachers, going out and serving others and seeing beyond themselves, and discovering who they are, exploring those passions and those interests at a deeper level in their high school experience. So our prayer is that when students get into high school, it's not just academics, but it's the balance of discovering who they are and how they were uniquely made in Christ with the gifts and talents that they have. So you're going to hear a lot tonight from different people about what that might look like as they journey through their high school experience. So you are going to hear from, I'm going to invite up here Mr. Lanning and two current high school students. Come on up. Well, first, Mr. Lanning is going to speak, and then he's going to invite up two of our students. So, Mr. Lanning, beloved teacher and educator.
I'm going to remove this so I can walk around a little. I have a very short time tonight. My name is Mr. Lanning. I am the 8th grade U.S. history teacher here at the King's Academy, and I've been teaching at the King's Academy for more than 20 years. And I was asked tonight to speak, it's hard to sum up. I was asked to speak about enduring relationships and what relationships are like as you transition to high school. And it's hard to sum up that much time in just a very few short minutes. So I'm going to do my best to be really succinct here. But I wanted to say that working in the junior high, I've always said I have a huge advantage. And that is I get to teach the kids for a year, see them every single day, get to know them, bond with them, form relationships with them, and then for 4 more years I get to still see them here on campus. And that's a lot of fun. And I've had more students than I can count that I've had wonderful relationships with as they went through high school. It's really fun to still see them after I'm no longer teaching them and be able to speak to them on campus and see them participate in sports or VPA productions or whatever they do, and interact with them in other ways as well. And so I wanted to focus really quickly, short, on a very long story of probably one of the students I've been the absolute closest in all of my time here. And I taught this young man when he was in 8th grade, and I was coaching high school football at that time, and I found out he was going to be my quarterback. So for 2 years, I coached him on the junior varsity, and he was my quarterback, and we bonded there. Then, as he went into high school, I still was spending time with him because I was coaching as well there. And it wasn't just football. We would regularly, with he and his friends, I would take the group out to dinner. I would, his family would have me over for various things. We became very good friends as he grew older. It was wonderful. I don't have time to tell you all the fun things we did. He went off to college. He went off to college in Texas. And every time he would come home on the weekend, his family, they took me to, I'm a Seahawks fan, but I went with them to 49ers games, the ways I suffer for this school. But things like that. I saw him every time he came home. And finally, in his senior year, he had gotten engaged to another King's Academy graduate. And we were having dinner. And I was very excited for him, obviously, because it was the girl he had always wanted to get engaged to. And so we talked and talked and talked. And I, of course, asked who he was going to have at his wedding party and all that stuff. And it was great. He told me. And then about 2 days later, I got a phone call from him. And he said, that night when we were having dinner was not the right time, but I want you to be a groomsman in my wedding as well. And I want you to think of that not from obviously it was deeply honoring and touching to me. But think of it, I guess I really did. And I'm not saying this with any ego or pride, but we had a really good relationship. God used me to form a relationship and influence this young man. And it was a very wonderful time when I got to be a groomsman in his wedding. It was a lot of fun. I was substantially older than in my 20s. But for a week, I got to run around like I was in my 20s and then spend 3 weeks with my body telling me I wasn't. But that's the kind of the relationships that we form here at the King's Academy. I'm not the only teacher that does that kind of thing. When your students are in high school, they'll build relationships. I have seen God do amazing things through all the things we do here with all the relational activities that happen at the King's Academy. I saw a young girl when I built a house in Mexico and went back the next year to visit the family I built. And we went to visit the house, and the mom of the house insisted we come in and eat breakfast with them. and I saw a young girl from Kings say to her mother who had gone on the trip, who was leery of eating food from, that was bought, but maybe not with the same standards we have in the United States. The girl said to her mom, "Mom, we can eat this food because God is providing it, not us." And these are the wonderful things at the King's Academy. This is what sets us apart, is the relationships and these experiences that will deepen your students' faith and hopefully make them see God in action in a very real and way that will impact them for the rest of their lives. Okay, so let me encourage you. It happens here. It's a lot of fun too for the kids and for us as adults. And and I hope every student here that is in high school gets to experience it. So I'm going to move over to our student panel. This is Amalia and Thomas. Can we give them a hand? And can you each introduce yourself? Tell us your name and what grade and when you came to the King's Academy.
Sure. So I'm Amelia. It's okay. I'm a senior, and I came to the King's Academy in 6th grade.
I'm Thomas. I am also a senior, and I also came here in 6th grade.
What are some of the classes you guys have been taking at the King's Academy? Quickly.
Okay. So I've mostly been taking AP and honors courses, just because I don't know, they're pretty easily accessible at King's. So by the end of this year, I will have taken 13 APs.
I kind of did a mix of APs and honors and regular classes. So I must have taken, after this year, I'll be taking 5 APs and I don't know, a few honors and some regs classes. So yeah, not too hard.
And what would you say some of the benefits are of attending the King's Academy, since we're not quite as big as some of the schools in the area? Where do you see some benefits in that?
I think one thing for sure is that all of the teachers really get to know you because they're teaching, I guess, less students. They get to know everybody in the grade, and they really care about, forming a relationship with you. They're always open before school, at lunch, after school, and you can always just chill and hang out.
Yeah, I think the teachers are great too. But for me, what I think is great about King's is it's not too big. And that means that you can connect with people you wouldn't normally connect to. So, I mean, just like Amelia, for example, we're pretty good friends. We've had a lot of classes together. But in a school with 600, 700 kids per class, there's a good chance I might have never, known her name. And so that's just I've been able to meet so many people that I wouldn't normally be able to talk to, and, a diverse group of people. And it's, it's been a real blessing.
Those are great reasons. So with those great reasons, there must be some memories you have from your time so far at King's. Can you maybe share a quick story or something about a really good memory you have during your time in high school here at King's?
Yeah, I'll just list or talk about the activity that had the biggest impact on me, which was joining the robotics team. I joined the team last year, and it was my first activity at King's that was across grades, because all of my activities were done outside of TK beforehand. But when I joined robotics, I got to meet people across all 4 grades of high school, which was really awesome because I could walk around and say hi to my friends that were freshmen and hi to the upperclassmen too. And it's just great to have those relationships.
Yeah, I have quite a few, but if I can pinpoint one memory, last season, so I do track and cross country, that's my sport. And last season we had a meet in Los Gatos, and there was only a few of us runners there, maybe 4 or 5 of us, and our coach, Mr. Tompkins, well, I ran my race, and I ran pretty well. I PR'd, and I just remember finishing and him like, cheering up and down, all my friends cheering, and then we went out. He took us all out to dinner right after, and I was with four or five other people that I didn't, they weren't in my friend group, like I said before, but we just had, the best time, eating some burgers. We're all tired, but we all had the best time, just celebrating each other. And it was like a small moment, but that was definitely like one of my best memories.
Another experience that was definitely very memorable was also last year. I got to go on a service trip to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we stayed there for about a week. We stayed on the Osage Reservation, and we got to go around to different churches all over Tulsa and work with kids and work with animals on a barn, and also work renovating the actual reservation that we were staying on. So got to meet lots of different diverse people, and also interact with like community that I'd never seen before. So that was really incredible.
I got another one. So this year, actually, we got the chance to go to Hume Lake on our fall retreats at the beginning of the year, and I think the whole of high school goes? Not ninth grade, but the whole of ninth grade does their own service trip, or own fall retreat. But we all got to go on this retreat to Hume Lake. It's a few hours away. And the last night, we all were gathered in this circle under the stars, and they had a band, and they were playing some worship songs. And at the end, we all just got to pray together and talk about our experiences at King's, and it was just a super meaningful moment for a lot of people, worshiping God together. And that was also definitely a very moving moment spiritually and, relationally with all my peers. So, yeah.
Okay, I didn't tell them I was going to ask this. But who was your favorite 8th grade history teacher? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, can we give them a hand, please? I had one last thing I needed to say that I forgot to say when I was speaking. You heard about the wonderful experiences they've had as through their time in high school. There is still the opportunity, if you haven't already, to build one of those memories now by joining the 8th grade East Coast trip. Shameless plug, but I did want to say that because it's breaking my heart right now, and I'll be really quick, I promise. It's breaking my heart right now because we're in a state of oversell on the trip. And we have a wait list going, and there are students we're going to have to turn away from the trip because we have completely filled 3 buses. And our biggest hope is that we could somehow get anybody who's still considering to sign up and get enough people that we could open a 4th bus, which would allow everyone to join the trip who wants to join the trip. So if you're even considering it, please contact myself or Pace Travel, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and hopefully talk to you about how great the trip is, because it really is wonderful, and it really is something your students will take with them for the rest of their lives. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lanning. All right, here we go. What I love about the King's Academy, if you heard from Thomas and Amelia, is it's never too late to try something new. You heard her say she didn't start robotics till she was a junior in high school. And Thomas has run cross country and track, but this year for the first time he became a class officer, as a senior class officer. So that's what I love about King's, is there's so many different opportunities and it's never too late to try something new. My name is Stephanie Huber and I'm the Dean of Students at the King's Academy. And one opportunity that I get to share with you tonight is how the Dean's Office can partner and help you. Our job in the Dean's Office and our focus is really holistic student development. Social, emotional, academic, behavioral, physical, all through the lens of the biblical glasses and God's Word. That's really our goal. My experience tells me, as a teacher in education for the last maybe 18 years and a parent, that high school is really hard. It's really hard. Would you want to go back? That's always what I ask myself. There's so much change and so much growth that happens physically, mentally, emotionally, socially. His job is to support your students and you as you navigate that journey. To our incoming families, we have some incoming families that are not current 8th grade families attending on live Zoom tonight, our link. I just want you to know, as you think about sending your 8th grader to high school at the King's Academy, I want you to know that we really are strategic about helping your student get connected really quickly here. We have touch points in the dean's office. We get to call in and meet them all. We have freshman orientation for them. We have student home groups centered just for them as freshmen. And we have so much academic support for them if they need it, along with Christian counseling on campus. So if you are thinking, these families are connected, these 8th graders are connected, my student will not be, do not worry. We are very intentional and strategic, and we love welcoming our new freshmen. And that's what part of the dean's office job is. To our current 8th grade families, all the teenagers want to do in life is to be known. It's just important to be known in who they are. The blessing of high school at TKA is we already know your students, and not because they've been in trouble in the dean's office, but because as we walk around, we know their names. We say hello. We see them at drop-off. We see them at check-in. We walk around at lunch. We get to see them and know them, and they get to see us and know us. So then when life happens and high school hits and hard things happen and you get the flu for 5 days, but you have an AP test, you call the dean's office and we already have that relationship established. It is because we know you and you know us that we can partner together to help your student. One thing we want to know and want you to know is that our enduring relationships with each other and the teachers is lifelong, like Mr. Lanning was saying. He gets to take high school students out to lunch because he's here and because he had them in 8th grade. And the dean's office has the same service as we do in junior high for all of our students, but there's a familiarity to your students as they enter the 9th grade. They're already known on day 1. They know what the letters in the buildings mean. They know where the bathroom is. And those are all things that make high school transition a little bit easier. Dr. Louie asked us our experiences for high school, and I shared that my favorite memory in high school was as a track runner. I ran track at Lee High School, and we had a dirt track at the time, and our coach would take us to San Jose City College to run at the end when we got closer to the CCS finals. He'd throw us in the back of his pickup truck with one of those covered back parts, and we'd drive from Lee High School to San Jose City College in the back of his pickup truck. That is my favorite memory of high school, Coach Mack. And as I'm an athletic prowess, as you can tell, I get to also share with you about our athletic program. Our athletic director, KJ Johnson, he's home tonight ill, and so I get to share with you a little bit about high school athletics. KJ wanted me to share with you that if your student is interested in athletics, currently doing sports at our junior high or entering in 9th grade, we have 2 very distinct opportunities. We have recreational athletics. Anybody who wants to play sports in high school can here at the King's Academy. You are welcome to come out and try. We love it. It is a great team bonding experience. And then if you're a passionate athlete, either on campus or off-site, we have everything you need to get to the next level of your academic or your athletic ability. Our athletic director, Joe Maymone, he is the one that navigates colleges with all of our students and families if that's something your student is interested in. And if your student just wants to learn how to play a sport, even at high school and hasn't played before, we want your student here as well for that. The beauty of TKA athletics is that they are Christ-centered, character-driven, and faith-based. You see the enduring relationship component, right? We have our Spanish teacher who coaches soccer, our Spanish teacher who coaches track. Ms. Porcelius coaches soccer. I coached girls flag football at the high school level this last year. We have our director of operations coaches soccer, right? So you see the component. We're invested in your students and want to connect with them. But the focus of our athletics is being excellent in what they do, but building character and development in their faith. We want them to support that development, both athletically and spiritually, have fun along the way. And one of the things that it's important that you know about our athletic program is that the size of the teams and the size of our school really give your students an opportunity to be successful here in high school and entering to college in the athletic room. It presents opportunities they might not have at a bigger school. So as you consider a high school at the King's Academy, please know the Dean's Office is here to support you, your students, and if you're interested in athletics, and even if you're not, you really should try because it's a really fun place to connect and to develop yourself. Next up on our docket is Carrie Berselius, and she's our Director of Curriculum. She's going to share with you about high school curriculum.
So I'm going to actually introduce our department leads. Let's see, where is it not on? If you can go ahead and move the slide forward thing. Can you go back to the slides with photos of everyone? There we go. All right, so here are our department leads. In some of our larger departments, you'll notice that there are two. So in Bible, we have Chris Davis and Rick Hardy. For our computer science and engineering is David Howe. For English, we have Liz Danielski and Steve Varmuth. And then for math, we have Steve Weiss and Michael Wilton. If you could go ahead and go to the next one. Let's see. For PE, we have Drew Petiti. In science, we have Jason Peavyhouse and Scott Smithson. In social studies, Christiana Kim, and then Mr. Ed Lanning is again. And then for VPA, we have Stacy Reed, and for our world languages is Renan Pineda. Was that me or you? Oh, there we go. It's working. Okay, got it. All right, thank you. I got control on it again. So my name is Carrie Berselius. I am the Director of Curriculum Instruction, and I'm going to take you through our academics. As you've heard, our seniors have taken on all kinds of different classes. We offer a lot of classes. So my slides, I have a lot to cover. Kind of an overview I'm going to do is I'm going to give you our graduation credits for each subject area, talk about UC recommendations, requirements and recommendations, college prep courses, honors, and AP courses that we offer. I'll actually go pretty quickly through the subject areas on that, and then I'll highlight those again for you at the end. I want to talk about our standardized testing that we offer, and then I'll do a little bit of some experience on what should you expect to see as your ninth grade high school and ninth grade experience as far as how many classes you might take or what classes you're taking. And then finally, I'll give you a preview of our summer school this year. So let's go into it. So standardized testing. As an eighth grader, you already experienced the PSAT 8-9. Well, we continue to use the PSAT. So as a ninth grader, you'll take that PSAT 8-9 again. 10th grade, we'll take a PSAT. But in 11th grade, the PSAT is a little special. It's the National Merit Scholarship qualifying test in 11th grade. And so that score is then used in their high school year, their senior year, to determine their eligibility for that scholarship. It is high honors, and I have to tell you, we typically have quite a few students who achieve that, and we've had students receive scholarships on it. So I'm pretty proud of our staff and of our students here. And then finally, for SAT testing, if you are doing SAT testing, it can be really difficult. And so as a school, we offer on-campus testing. So we do one in the spring for our 11th graders, and then again for those 11th graders when they're seniors, we do it in the fall. So it gives you that little bit of you know that we'll be offering this for you. And you'll get notices on those in the Royal Reminders. So requirements to graduate. All high schools have requirements to graduate. In our school, we have 30 credits of Bible as a part of our graduation requirement. All ninth grade students will take Foundations of Faith. It's one semester, so you'll have another semester to put an elective into there, or you'll see some other classes you might want to put in there. And then there's just a variety that you see throughout, and don't need to take photos or anything like that, because we are going to send this out to you. And it'll come out in so many other ways in communications from our college and academic counseling. We are offering a new department, which is business. We only have one class this year that we're implementing, that is Intro to Business, and it is open to our ninth graders. So that is a semester class that you might pair with that Bible class. And then in the coming years, we'll start offering increasing number of business classes. So something to get excited about if you are if you did anything with the Christmas fair, right? This is a class for you. Computer science and engineering, these are all electives. So you do have elective credits required, but the elective fills in all those core subject requirements. But you have semester and year-long courses. You'll start to see popping up here on out are UC approved courses, so we highlight those for you so you can know which ones are going to go towards UC credit and recognized by the UC system, so the University of California college system. In our English department, it is required in both the UC and TKA for graduation, 40 credits. That means you take an English class every year, and you have a lot of variety, but in your 9th grade year, you have a choice between 9th grade English or honors. So, and these honors classes do have requirements, so you'll need to make sure you meet those prerequisites. In math, there is a requirement of 20 credits, and you do need to get to geometry. For UCs, they expect 30 credits through Algebra 2, and then 40 credits is recommended all the way through to pre-calculus. In 9th grade, most 9th graders will take anywhere from Algebra 1 to Geometry to Algebra 2. Please know that you do have to take them in succession, and they do need to have you need to complete things successfully. So before you take Geometry, you have to have completed Algebra 1 successfully. So please keep that in mind as we move forward and when we get talking about summer school. Physical and health education, yes, we do have a new word in there, health, because we've added health to our requirements. So 25 credits, and those 20 credits is PE and 5 credits is health. So that's how it gets broken up. So it's not all that, 25 is not PE only, you do have to take health, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. So physical education is 2 semesters in 9th grade, completed by the end of 9th grade, and then once you're in 10th grade through 12th grade, you just need an additional 2 semesters. And then there are activities after school that you can do, you'll see them listed there, that you can receive 5 credits of PE credit for. You can only receive up to 10 credits in any given year. The only year you don't receive PE credit is your 9th grade year. So if you are doing color guard, winter guard, Knights Brigade, or a varsity sport, and it's your 9th grade year, you will not receive PE credit for that. But anytime after your 9th grade year, you will. Health is 1 semester. We highly recommend you take it in 9th grade, but it is required for your graduation. So even if you don't take it in 9th grade, you do need to take that health class. We recommend it in 9th grade because, well, it's a good time to get it done. It's probably the place where you have the most space in your schedule as well. The science department, you have 30 credits required. You do need to take biology as well as chemistry or physical science. UCs require that you take a biological science, i.e. biology, and a physical science, i.e. chemistry or physical science. Those will satisfy the requirement for the UC. You still will need to take 1 more class in the sciences. We have a lot of really amazing science electives. Anatomy, environmental science, marine science, just some really fun things, as well as moving into the APs. Social studies, you do need to take 30 credits to complete the social studies. It is very specific in what you need to take. You have to take modern world history, US history, economics, and government. You can take the general courses or AP courses in any one of those, for any of those, but that will satisfy it. UCs will require 20, but California and TKA, the state of California, requires those 3 courses. So, world language. Okay, I'm gonna slow down because this is where things get a little tricky. TKA requires 10 credits of a world language. That's 1 full year of a language. UCs require level 2 of the same language, and it's highly recommended that you go to level 3. So you'll notice we offer a lot of levels. For Spanish, Mandarin and French, we have levels 1 through 4 plus AP. And then for American Sign Language, we have levels 1 through 3. You've seen in the royal reminders that there is a world language placement test. You might currently be in a world language class. How does that affect high school? So the UC system does not say you have to take 2 years. You have to get to level 2. So if you are in 7th grade, you started taking Mandarin 1, and then this year you're in Mandarin 2. In your 9th grade year, you take Mandarin 3. You have satisfied TKA's requirement of 1 full year of a world language in your high school year, as well as you've satisfied the requirement in the UC system because you are at level 3 of a world language. The other way you might satisfy this, you this year take the placement test, or maybe you took it last year, and you were placed in Spanish 4, or maybe you get AP Spanish. And so in 9th grade, you come in and you take the AP Spanish class. That's level 5, and you have 1 year of a world language, and you're at level 5. So you complete both the TKA requirement and the UC requirement of level 3 or more, right? So this can get a little confusing, I know, but if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And the world language placement is still open if you are saying, wait a minute, we can do that. Otherwise, it would be, as a 9th grader, if you haven't taken any language, a first year of a language. I also would tell you, if you are a native speaker and you have a native language and you have English, you can always take another language to satisfy it just for fun. So, VPA Performing Arts. TKA, we have 10 credits required. UC also requires 10 credits, which is 1 year-long class. We highly recommend adding VPA to your schedule. Find a place to put it in more than 1 year, truly. The reason why is because we can sometimes get so focused on the academics and the hard rigor, and we forget about the creative. And some of the most brilliant people in the world, they are all kinds of left brain. They do amazing things. And then in the other realm of their lives, they have something very creative. They maybe play a string instrument, or they do art, or they sing. They do something, right, that's creative. And that creative outlet is actually what helps to continue to allow the brain to grow and to just progress beyond confines of what we keep it in. So I highly recommend. We have so many places for our students to engage in the arts. So we have music, we have drama, we have dance, art, and then some other year-longs. We have yearbook. Yearbook does require digital photography, but to catalog and create the memories that people have afterwards is amazing. That yearbook honors is actually for our editors. So they are the ones who actually help really guide the yearbook and what it becomes. So it's a real honor to get to be in the yearbook honors. Interdisciplinary and non-departmental electives. These are very similar to those VPA. They're not creative per se, but they are a place that we want to help you find balance in a schedule. You saw our students up here. Almost all of our students find somewhere to put tutoring, or they'll do study hall, or there'll be a library aide, or an office aide, or a teacher aide. But we also have student council, teacher assistant, and then this year we're adding student tech nights. These are people who will be working with our IT department and being an intern with them. But this is, again, kind of that non-academic space in the room, in their schedule that just kind of gives our students one place in the day that they get to kind of rest their brain as they go through. And you are hearing me say this over and over again because children, as they're growing, and teenagers, as they're growing, they're doing and learning so much, and there is a point where they do just need a break, and that's what some of these classes offer. VPA offers that creative break. Our non-departmental electives offer a different kind of break. It's doing other kind of tasks that maybe don't require as much as far as that rigor and that academic, but it gives them that space to just engage in what they've already learned or reflect or just rest. So we want to encourage you to be intentional with your student about finding those places of balance. Some college prep courses, I'm just going to highlight a few of them. So we do have public speaking, debate, anatomy, physiology, broadcasting, intro to psychology, intro to law, and mock trial competition. That is a new class this year. So mock trial competition is students get to pretend to be lawyers and argue a court case. It's kind of a fun competition. Honors classes that we offer, you'll notice we don't have very many. And that's because we have a lot of APs. So we have 10 APs in our STEM, and we have 10 AP course offerings in our humanities. So we've really excelled in creating that space for APs. And so as a total, we started offering APs in 2015-16. We now have 20 different AP offerings. And again, I come back to that balance because these are amazing classes. They're an opportunity for your student to experience college pacing and level courses, but we also want to balance it with knowing they're not yet in college. They are in high school and wanting to be mindful. And so while we have 367 students taking AP classes, our 9th graders are limited, and we have scaffolded our AP offerings. And I'm actually going to let David, you talk more about that when we get to it, but I do want to let you know that we do scaffold it. We care very much so about, yes, that academic excellence, but we care about that balance as well. And I think our scores speak to that, because we teach them well, but we constantly are thinking about who they are as people and supporting them in those moments, in those places. So our average exam score is a 3.8 out of 5, whereas the US average is 2.87. Our passing rate is 87% of students who take the APs score a 3 or higher. So it's something I'm very proud of our teachers and of our students. But again, I go back to, that's because they get the support because they're in the small classes. They get the support because they have a dean's office. They get support because they have college and counseling who know them. They get support because they have all of us around them to just be present, to see where they are emotionally as well as how they're doing academically. So ideal framework is going to be 4 years of English, 3 years of social studies, 4 years of math, 4 years of science, 4 years of world language, and 1 visual and performing arts. That would be ideal. You might not do that, but it's ideal. So, but a typical 9th grade schedule might look something like this. You will probably have Bible and health, because they're each a semester class. English might be general, it might be honors. Math, depending on where you are in your math. But you'll have a biology. Biology could be general or honors. PE, world language, and elective. That's typically what our students are going to take. So what does that homework load look like? Pretty normal. So Bible, English, even bio and Algebra 1, and Algebra 1, 1A, 1B, like these are all pretty much in that 0 to 30 minutes. I want to highlight for especially my 8th graders, bio honors is much harder than 8th grade science. And the homework is much harder than 8th grade science. So be prepared to be very challenged. When you get to high school is very hard. It just levels up. So bio honors is probably the hardest class, but when you get into English and into your math classes and into your algebra, like these things are all leveling up. They're gonna be harder. So even though maybe English 8 was easy, English 9 general is gonna be challenging. So I want you to be prepared for that. Because it's just what it is. Whether you are here or you go anywhere else, like that's just high school. High school is harder than junior high. So, but be prepared for that homework increase in rigor and in expectations of accuracy to be more accurate. All right, summer school. So you have us here to help you. We have been thinking about you all year long. And so we are offering this year in summer school TKA Freshman Success. This is a class that is being offered. It's going to be offered multiple times. It's a week-long class, and it's meant to prepare you for high school so that you learn some of the words that we use in high school, things like transcript. That's a really important word. Eligibility. I know you kind of know what it means in junior high, but these are really important, and there's a lot to it. And so we want to give you that. But we also want to prepare you for what is actual high school writing, what is actual, what's critical thinking in high school level. And so that TK Freshman Success is going to be for that. We're also implementing a writing essentials and a math essentials, and these are for students who maybe junior high has been a little hard, and you might want to think about how can I get ready? What can I do to get ready? In addition to that, we do have opportunities to take classes for credit. So that would be our 6-week intensive 6-week summer program. So we have lots of enrichment classes, but 3 of our course offerings, we do offer geometry. So if you have successfully completed Algebra 1, you can take geometry over the summer and then enter into Algebra 2 your freshman year. That is, of course, if you successfully complete geometry over the summer. Be clear about that one. VPA, we have 3D modeling that you can take over the summer. Again, it's a 6-week course. And then we also offer PE. It's a 3-week course. If you take the PE course over the summer as a 8th grade going to 9th grade, you can apply that to one of your 9th grade semester PE classes. And so you'd only take one semester of PE that freshman year. So lots of variety and things that you can do with those course credit summer school offerings. So thank you so much. I'm so glad I got to go through all that. That was a lot to do, so thank you for your attention and willingness to listen. And I'm going to pass it off to David Yu.
All right, while I was listening to that, I was wondering how many of you guys were sitting down there thinking, oh my goodness, this is what my high schooler, my 8th grader is going to have to go through next year. I can't believe they're in high school already. And while I'm sitting over here, I just kept thinking about this past weekend when I took my 3 young boys with me hiking, and we decided to go to the Cupertino trails, and we're standing there looking at the map, and there's so many different pathways to go, and one thing the maps don't tell you is how steep the hills are, and we ended up getting lost, and we're trying to read the signs, is this arrow pointing upwards or is it pointing sideways? I don't really know which way I'm going. And so that image came to mind while Carrie was talking. I mean, Carrie and her team, we see them as kind of the trail makers, right? They're clearing the way for us. They're creating new programs for our students to be able to take. And then you can see us as the Academic Counseling Center. We're like the park rangers, all right? We're over here. Hey, we're here to help you guys navigate based on your fitness or your academic goals. What do you want to do what's your ultimate plan after your 4 years here? And how can we kind of come alongside you to create a more individualized plan to achieve that? And so while I'm talking today, I'm hoping you guys will consider everything I'm saying in comparison to your local public high school. I went to a public high school in Fremont Union High School District, and I can tell you right now, I mean, what Kings has to offer for our students is nothing like what I got out there. And furthermore, with how competitive the college admission landscape is, it's nothing like when you and I just kind of, snail mailed or typewrote or whatever our applications and sent it into the school. It's a lot more nuanced than that. And so it's really important for us to be able to always kind of keep our ears to the ground and deliver the most accurate information to our students. And so I'd like to introduce our team first. My name is David Yu. I'm the Director of College and Academic Counseling. This is my 6th year here at the Kings Academy. We have 4 full-time high school counselors for our students. And then this year we have our new 8th grade academic counselor, Mrs. Kathy Montgomery, who's here with us, and many of you have met her. It's been a long time coming. We've been wanting to kind of implement our counseling roots into 8th grade, and we're super excited. This year is our first year implementing it, so please be sure you guys take advantage. Reach out to Mrs. Montgomery if you guys have any questions after tonight's meeting. Okay, so our counseling mission here is equipping students to discover and use their God-given gifts to pursue their life's calling and education with confidence and maturity. That's a very tall order there. And so over the next couple slides, I hope to just kind of introduce to you guys our department, our services, how we come alongside the families, and how we plan to implement this mission and our philosophy to the students. So you've heard this time and time again tonight, the word balance, right? Being able to find balance in our curriculum. Starting in 8th grade and going into 9th grade, 10th grade, students are assigned a counselor already, so they're able to come in at any time, and we start our course planning for next year, starting in February, beginning of February. So we're starting to meet students now to talk about, hey, what kind of classes are you thinking about next year? How much is too much? We want our students to be able to thrive, not to sink, and to be able to not only tap into their academic interests, but also be able to participate in extracurriculars outside of the school. So our number of AP honors differs by each individual student. And we always hear parents ask, oh, how many honors or how many APs should our students take? And you guys heard from Amelia earlier. She took 13 APs, right? And I was part of that conversation with her in 10th grade, talking to her about balance. And I don't think she mentioned it, but she's also a nationally recognized martial artist, right? So with all that you're doing outside of school, do you have time to balance all your APs like that? And then Thomas, I'm Thomas's counselor this year as well, talking to him about, hey, what kind of college do you want to go to? I want to be able to go to school where maybe I'm either recruited for running or I'm able to just continue to run, recreationally, but I also want to go to a place where I have more hands-on learning, where I have opportunities to interact with a professor and I'm not just sitting there in a lecture hall or doing a Scantron final. And so each one of our students we approach very individually to come up with a plan for them, and then figure out the right fit college. And there's so many options out there, right? Not just your 2 or 4 year college, but are we doing liberal arts? Are we doing an art school? Are we doing trade school? Should I consider a gap year? There's all these options, and we want to be able to get to know each family, each student's needs, and be able to advise them in the right way. So I'm not going to talk too much about college because we're in 8th grade, right? And so we're going to start with the high school course selection process. So starting from high school, all right? So all of our classes are based off of your previous year's coursework, especially if you're applying to honors and APs. Our prerequisites are clearly stated in the course handbook, which should be coming out tomorrow, I believe. Oh, it came out already. Oh, it came out already. You can take a look at the course handbook for each class. You'll see kind of at the bottom in italics, just, okay, to qualify for so-and-so honors, you must have received this and this grade in the previous class. We also consider students' interest and passion, right? So for example, if you're a student, your ultimate goal is to get into a school for engineering or computer science. Hey, we want to focus a little bit more on, you know, your math placement, right? We want to focus a little bit more on which science classes you choose so that we can have all the correct classes on your transcript by the time we're applying for schools. And then again, the word balance, right? Making sure that we're not overloading our students so that they're doing too much. And we have something here called the AP Committee. And the AP Committee it was created out of love, all right? It's for our students where they apply for the number of APs that they want to take the following year. And part of the application includes, okay, did I meet the prerequisites? What are my extracurriculars that I'm planning on taking the following year? What are some other classes that I'm also considering in terms of honors or other APs? And then the AP committee consists of our school principal, our counselors. We solicit feedback from our teachers as well, just to say, okay, what do you recommend with this student, with this kind of workload? Do you think they're able to handle it? And then we go back and we have these conversations of whether or not we think that it's a good idea, or we continue to talk about, okay, how can we kind of balance this out a little bit? Carrie mentioned earlier that we also scaffold the number of APs that we have. So again, there's a transition here, right? This is a marathon, so we want our students to be able to ease into more of an academic rigor instead of starting off 9th grade with overloading APs and then really just struggling to stay afloat and then trying to keep that trajectory for the rest of high school. We want them to be able to kind of ease into it, but also enjoy the process of learning. And so starting in 9th grade, students are allowed to take up to 2 APs. And then in 10th grade, 3, 4, and 11th, and then so on and so forth. And so you'll see from the data that Carrie showed earlier, too, even at the 9th grade level, we only have maybe a dozen students who are taking APs right now. So a lot of them start off with maybe an honors or 2, or maybe an AP, just to kind of test out the waters, and then we ramp it up as we go on. As far as our TKA counseling college counseling services, so we support our students with the college application activities. Starting early on, we start them with course planning and scheduling, but also we go into the classrooms and we introduce different assessment tools that they can start using earlier on to discover, hey, what's my learning style? What's my best way of learning? Am I someone who kind of retains things more from a lecture format? Am I more hands-on? Should I be taking notes? Should I, study with a friend, this and that? And then in 10th grade, we also have career type assessments. So students can start to explore a little bit, not so much to put them in a box, but maybe just so they can start to narrow down or get them to start thinking about, okay, I might be interested in kind of heading towards this direction. How can I strategically choose my classes for the rest of high school? College list creation. So this comes later on in junior year, 2nd semester. We're starting to meet with our juniors now. We talk to students, okay, what are we looking for in our college experience, right? Students might tell us different things. Oh, I'm looking for something that has a nice work-life or study-life balance, right? Oh, I only want something that's close to the beach. I need something that allows me to study aerospace engineering and has an ice skating rink. I mean, we hear all kinds of very unique needs and wants, and so our job as counselors is just to sit down and be like, okay, how can we start to create a list of, we definitely want our students to be challenged, having our reach schools, having our target schools, having our foundational schools, and we'll go through all of that later on. As we go through high school and junior year. Activities list, so creating a resume early on. This resume is also important for when they're applying for college, but is also helpful when they're applying for work. And so having a high school resume early on with different activities, different transferable characteristics that they've kind of gained throughout the years is something that gets the students also to start thinking and building up their own self-esteem and building up their own profile. And then essay guidance, we helping students with their Common App, with their UC essays, and also college rep visits. So we have roughly 70 to 80 different universities that come visit TKA each year, usually during the fall. They come during lunchtime. All high school students are welcome to come participate. These reps are usually the actual reps that are sitting, that are reading our students' applications and approving, and so it gives the students a good face time to be able to meet the admissions reps, okay? And so I'm just gonna kind of jump through this real quick. 9th grade, again, we go into the classrooms. They're assigned a counselor as soon as they're in 9th grade, and so anytime a student has questions about academics, okay, where's my classroom? Can I change my schedule? But even if it's, hey, I signed up for maybe too many honors classes, I'm not sure what to do, I need to talk to someone, or hey, can I have someone come with me to go talk to a teacher? We're there for your students, and we're there to accompany them across the way through 12th grade. And so by the time we reach 12th grade, I've been with most of my 12th graders since 9th grade, and I know how to write a recommendation letter. I know how these classes were chosen. I know how their extracurriculars and their family situation and all of that go, and so I'm able to give them the best advice possible. Okay? So again, 11th and 12th grade. And then I just wanted to touch a little bit, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through 10th and 11th as much, but in 12th grade, the college application workshops, I think this is a huge selling point. So every Wednesday morning, I know the students' God-given right to wake up and roll out of bed and come to school at 10 o'clock, but we offer in the fall college workshops, and so seniors are able to come to the library, just bring their devices. All of our counselors are there, and everyone's just working on applications together. So whether you have questions on financial aid or your essay, or I want to apply to a state school, or I want to apply through the Common App, any questions you have, just be able to work with your students, with your peers, but also with a counselor all the way through, okay? So I always get asked these questions. These are some of our highlights. I don't like to focus too much on this, but this information, it doesn't really mean anything unless there's context, right? But if I were to pull the numbers of the UC's general acceptance rate, our TKA acceptance rate for our students are right there on par with what their general acceptance rates are. But this one is one that I wanted to show you. So I know that we talked a lot about UC approvals and UC this and that, but our students actually all go to schools all over the US. And there's a whole gamut of schools that they go to. So whether it's Christian schools, local community college, or they're going to your top 20s, the Ivies, Ivies of the South, if you will, liberal arts schools, or even just general arts schools. This is not just an acceptance rate. This is where our students over the last 3 years have actually gone to. And so we'll share this slide with you guys later, and you guys can take a look at that. Okay. And again, I mentioned the rep visits earlier. These are a list of some of the colleges that actually come visit our school. And again, these are admissions officers who are there to answer any questions and to also present the school. And so we encourage all of our high school students, pay attention to the announcements. We announce this, every day we have different schools coming to visit during the fall. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about, some upcoming events. So tomorrow we will send out an email to 8th grade families for our AP course selection. So this will be your first foray into applying for, hey, should I be applying for AP starting in 9th grade? If you guys have any questions about APs at the 9th grade level, feel free to reach out to Mrs. Montgomery or send an email to academiccounseling@tka.org. We'd be happy to assist you. We gave the students through the long weekend all the way until next Friday before our applications close, and then course selections open in February 8th, and students will start applying for their classes. They'll know whether or not they've been approved for the APs they applied for by then, and the deadline is February 20th. And so again, being able to find that balance though. So as you guys are going through this, we have a couple of copies of course planning packets here that you guys can come and pick up later on. As you guys are drawing out what the next year or two might look like, please feel free to reach out. Let us know if you have any concerns or any questions. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Principal Louie.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. So I don't know how long ago, I know it was before the break, you received a survey as an 8th grade parent, asking you some questions about what you wanted to hear about. So I'm hoping that our different topics tonight covered a lot of your questions, but I wanted to focus on some of the thematic questions that came out and make sure that those are answered in full. Homework and workload was a question that a lot of parents had. Mrs. Bruzelius had a chart. Again, these slides are going to be sent out so you can look at it in a little bit more detail. We ask our students in our student course surveys every fall to report how much time on average they're spending in each of their courses on homework per night. So I'm not going to ask you students to raise your hand, but if your student in 8th grade is taking a world language class, or if they're taking a math class that is Algebra 1 or higher, they're already taking high school level courses. I just want you to recognize that. So those are good indicators of what homework will look like in a high school level class, your world language and your math in junior high. But our general range that students are spending on homework for a 9th grade general class is up to 30 minutes. And that's an average, right? And this is self-reporting. And it's gonna vary from student to student. Maybe they're spending more time on English because that's an area that they might struggle in a little bit more, but math, they mostly finish in class, and they maybe have a little bit to do at home, or vice versa. So for a general class, our rule of thumb, it can be up to 30 minutes that a student is spending on homework per night. And for an honors level or an AP class, that can be up to 45 minutes to an hour per night. So you know your student better than anyone. And as you're approaching a 9th grade course selection, I want you to be really intentional. I want you to map out what the day would look like for your student. We only have 24 hours in a day. Start with sleep. Start with a goal of 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And then students are on campus. We're in class from 8 to 2:50. So there's another chunk of your day. Are you doing extracurriculars or co-curricular activities that are 2 to 3 hours per day? And then you look at the homework. What load do you want your student to have in 9th grade? Do you want them, let's say they're taking 7 classes in 9th grade, no study hall, and they're taking more rigorous academic courses. They're doing honors level or AP classes. They chose not to do VPA where they're exercising that other part of their brain. They may have up to 3.5, 4, 5 hours of homework a night if they're taking all honors and AP level classes, like your rigorous classes. Is that what you want for your student? Is that what your student wants? Or do you want to look at a more manageable load where maybe Mrs. Bruzelius shared a sample schedule that has that elective, that one period you really get to play with in 9th grade? Maybe first semester of 9th grade is a study hall to give them time in the day to work on that homework so that they can participate in the high school play or in a sport after school, so they're not sacrificing those activities just so that they can be doing homework. So think about that as you're planning and map out the hours in a day and where they're going to spend that time. And make sure that you're intentional about, I want as a family for us to be able to spend this much amount of time together during a week. Where are we going to schedule that so that you make sure that you have the time for church and family and the things that are important to you? Time management. I think one of the biggest differences that students experience that can be a challenge from 8th to 9th grade is they have more choices in their schedule and what they are doing. The rigor of their classes may be different. So they need to figure out how they're going to manage their time to do their coursework and all of their activities. In 8th grade, their friends are pretty much taking the same classes. They're doing the same English. They're doing the same science. They're doing the same social studies class. But in 9th grade, there's much more choice and differentiation in what they do. So they need to figure out how to manage their time and what system works for them. Is it using a written planner? Is it having a calendar that maps things out? Is it Studio, an online digital planner that we use as a school? But figuring out what works for them to manage their time well so that they're not feeling inundated. The dean's office and my office, every week we're running grade reports on Monday mornings. It's our practice to look at how students are doing, and if we see any cause for concern, we start talking to those students. And we focus a lot on 9th grade in the fall because we want to see if students are experiencing any of those challenges and if they may need some extra support. And we have some great classes that can help them, like study skills, where if study skills is something they need to work on, we can recommend that they're in that class, or maybe the tutoring class, or maybe a study hall. So we offer some suggestions. You've heard a lot tonight. One of the questions that came in was about balance. And so we tried to cover that in a lot of areas, but I just want to bring it back to you need to be intentional as a family and in conversation with your student about what that looks like in their life. Mr. Yu used the term a marathon. This isn't just about 9th grade. It's setting the pace for the marathon of high school. And when your student reaches the end of high school, you want them to do it with a joy about their classes, about their activities, about their friendships and their relationships with their teachers, and their relationship with Christ. So keep that in mind as we talk about balance. It's not just about academics. TKA. I have been here for, I think this is I've lost track. It's my 13th or 14th year. I love being here more and more every year that I'm here. I think that TKA, we are invested and dedicated to excellence in all areas of the school because that's what Christ calls us to do all things in excellence. We offer a wonderful program with our academics, extracurriculars, VPA athletics, through the people around your students, whether it's the student store workers or the deans or the teachers or your coaches who really care about the students are invested in them. So one of the benefits and the value of staying at TKA is that we already know your kids. And we will continue to develop the relationships with them in 9th grade and through high school. I think the size of our school is also a real asset. We are at a size, I think Thomas mentioned it, you know everybody in a grade level. That 150 to 175 range for a class size is perfect. There is research that shows that every person in a group that size can still get to know each other in a meaningful way. So we've been pretty intentional about that over the years here at TKA to keep class sizes where students really know each other. Another value of being a school this size is that they get to try things and they're not cut from athletics teams. They get to be in the play or the tech crew because we are a size of a school where we have lots of activities. We can offer so many things, but we can also invite students to be a part of it and not have to cut them from activities because we have too many students. So there are so many benefits to staying here at TKA. We hope that you make the choice to stay here because we want to acknowledge and understand that it is a choice. We've tried to show you tonight and talk to you about the benefits of being here. After our meeting tonight, you're going to receive an email that has the slides from this presentation, and you are also going to receive a sign-up genius if you would like to meet to ask some more questions and to get some more guidance in what high school might look like for your students. And those one-on-one meetings that could be in person or via Zoom would be with me or Mrs. Bruzelius or Mrs. Montgomery. So you'll get that email. You can choose to do that, but you're always welcome to email us, stop in, call if you have questions as well. So in the interest of time, I see that as 8:15, I'm going to pray for us, but we're going to stay and we're going to answer. What? We'll stay down there. they're going to go down there and they're going to hand out these wonderful packets with course planning that you can be your takeaway that you can look at. So let me pray for us. Heavenly Father, we are so blessed to be here tonight in your presence, God. I pray that as families consider what is best for their students in the coming years, that you be at the center of those conversations, God, as they seek to do what is best for their student in their coursework, in their activities, God, and in their further relationship with you. And we lift all of these things up to you in your Son's name. Amen. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed evening, and make sure you grab one of these forms. It's so bright.